Good morning, my artists. I hope we all had a better rest. I'm not going to say a good rest. Definitely, it's not a good rest, a better rest. In the past few days, definitely we have been tested. Amandla A2 and our body capabilities, they have been tried and tested. I'm not going to be long because I'm not a man of many words. At the very same time, unfortunately, I'm one of those program directors who doesn't have those jokes. Look to the left, look to the right. Take 5 to the person next to you. I'm sorry, I'm not coming from that world. I'm just an ordinary artist, and I'm just presenting what I'm presenting. Currently today, we've got Mr. B. Mahlangu amongst us, whom is going to take us through the presentation as we promised the day before yesterday. He's amongst us, but because you know that I always say it is best for the person whom is going to share us his presentation to present himself better, because I might short present him. So I'm going to give over to you, Menier, and you are welcome. Thank you for coming. I know probably you are also tired. However, please bless us with the information to the better extent so that we can be able to add value to whatever that we've been doing in this program. Thank you so much. Over to you. Oh, you've got yours. You are welcome.
Absolute pleasure for me to be here today and give you a bit of a presentation about the services that we offer at the Market Photo Workshop. I'm sure most of you might not be familiar with the Market Photo Workshop. I have recently joined the institution, which is part of the bigger Market Theatre Foundation. The Market Photo Workshop is a photography school which is located within the Market Theatre Foundation. And it's so unfortunate that while the institution is globally renowned and has produced the likes of your Sir Zanele Moholis as the current and leading global photographers, it is relatively unknown in South Africa, because many of the people that actually come to learn at the institution are largely, to a proportion of about 50%, based in Joburg, and another 50% spread across the African continent and the world. So I think, without wasting any further time, let me just take you through a video that will give you an indication of what the facility looks like and what we do at the institution, and I'll expand on that with a PowerPoint presentation. But I think it's important for all of us to know that photography is more than just taking pictures of our friends, more than taking pictures at weddings. And I think, given what has transpired with COVID-19 and moving to the digital world, photography has become so much more important, especially, I would say, for so-called rural provinces, where your mainstream media would not be able to expand on the narratives of the so-called marginalized people. So without further ado, I think let me just play the video, and then we'll engage the presentation after the video. Thank you.
Generally, we say, one has to go to some program to develop a sense of visual literacy. But I really believe that every single human being is born with visual literacy, because we are subjected to images on every minute, every moment of our lives. Images are a source of reference for how we think about ourselves.
My name is Chris Dennis. I'm originally from Kampala, Uganda. I've been a part of the advanced program in photography at the Market Photo Workshop. Everyone was accommodating, and they tried to help me as best as they could to get used to the new city and country, and I'm grateful that I was able to build those relationships and to learn the lessons that I've learned, which was a huge reason for my coming to South Africa.
My name is Senzegile Sangweni. I'm an IC student at the Market Photo Workshop. The camera to me is like the voice box, you know, for the voice that is in me that I cannot take out with my mouth, or sometimes I am afraid. So the camera is that voice box for me that says the unsayable things.
The Market Photo Workshop gives you an experience of education that you will never get at any university. The most important part about our institution is that we allow access to those who wouldn't have access ordinarily. And we do not register people based on the English language. So we allow you to learn in your own language. So most of the students that come here are free to express themselves in their own language. We have 3 courses. We offer you foundation course, the intermediate photography course, and we also offer you long courses or long programs as we call them. And in the long programs you have advanced photography program, and you also have a photojournalism and documentary program.
Photography has changed my life in many ways. It has enabled me to just look at the world in a different way. So this place has taught me how to be myself, give myself.
If you are somebody who is an aspiring photographer who wants to make images that change perceptions, that are reflective of the environments that you are living in, that you're engaging, but also that you want to begin to present to the rest of the world. If you are somebody that wants to access the world global market, that wants to access networks that may lead you to being part of the global space of the practice, this space is that. So we are kind of a Pan-African platform of the photographic practice that is truly reflective of the thinking of the region. And that's our unapologetic focus at the current space.
Without wasting any further time, let me take you through the presentation that I had prepared for you with regards to the services that we offer at the Market Photo Workshop. So, the slide arrangement, as you can see, I will give you just a quick background about the Market Photo Workshop, when it started, what it does, and then I'll take you through the 3 main programs that we offer at the Market Photo Workshop, because we are not just a traditional school, and I'll expand on that. So in the process of starting to have conferencing. We have last Thursday talks, where we bring in established photographers to speak with our students, to speak with other interest groups in the photographic space about, current trends, challenges, and opportunities that are available in the photographic space. This space is actually I need to be honest with you to say I've only learned about the market photo workshop about 5 years ago, which is quite sad. I think we are not doing justice to the institution, and that's why we are here to engage you about the opportunities that are available there and the doors that the institution unlocks. So an archives unit, it does exactly what it says on the tin. It focuses on photographic practice research, documenting, emerging and established photographers, and creating archives for them. So we first have archives that date back to the years 2006, all the way up to fairly recently, of all the student work that we have had at the photo workshop. And this would include your Prof. Zanele Moholi as well. We also have the Nelson Mandela Archive. We have quite take the lead in putting together this important archive and making it available for the world, and also taking the responsibility to protect the copyright and intellectual property for the practitioners who otherwise tend to face challenges. The second offering that we have is the courses and curriculum offer, which is exactly that. We have 4 classes that we have in each year. We have the foundation program, which is a short program. We also have the intermediate program, which is also a short program. And then we have the 2 long courses that the institution is known for. The first one is the advanced program in photography, and then the second one is the photojournalism and documentary photography program, which is the PDP program. And I'll talk about them a little bit longer when I get to those slides. And then third and finally, we have the exhibition training. Hiring photographers that are mainly academically challenged or financially challenged. What does that mean? That means that To be part of the organization, you don't need to have completed matric. You don't need to have English as your main language of communication, because we know that in many of our communities, we do have a lot of youth that do not have sufficient training at school level. And as a result of that, some of them are people that are creative and that have an opportunity to fast-track their career aspirations, but they cannot do that in a system that we currently have, the higher education system. So what we do is we create that plug point for them to actually access the much-needed skills. And then secondly, we know to just give you an overview, for the 3 months foundation program, you'd pay about 5,700 rands. For the 6 months intermediate program, and these programs are programs that are actually interlinked in that you have to start from the foundation, work your way all the way to the long programs. You have the intermediate program, which is a 6 months long program, and that will cost you something like 11,700, if I remember correctly. And then you have your full-time year-long programs, which is the APP or the PDP. That is about 22,700 rands. And in doing that, we also afford the learners the opportunity to actually access some bursaries and also, do additional work by aligning our activities with the likes of the department, that if there's a need for a photo shoot, for craft work, for any other event, then our learners plug into that space and actually assist in that so that they can offset their bursaries. Yes.
To stop you as you are talking, or maybe keep the questions for later. Can I just? I'm not asking any questions. I was just interested in the numbers that you just told us, the cost and the duration of those courses that you're talking about, because it is quite important, especially for someone like me who's in the space of funding and actually facilitating these opportunities that you're talking about. If you'd be kind just to go over them, just so that I capture them once and for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ndwandwa. I think I would like for this to be a conversation. So if there's any question, people are allowed to raise their hands so that we deal with those questions as we progress. And then if there's any other questions that still remain to be answered, we can also answer at the end of the presentation. But I would also provide you with the website, well, we have 2 websites, provide you with the websites to the Market Photo Workshop where you can access all this information, because I think this information is quite helpful, especially when you are able to go to the website and get an expanded view of all our offerings. So, without wasting any time, these are some of demand that we've been having, that a lot of our practitioners in this country are not protected, So how do we create a repository that will protect the intellectual property of our photographers. And we are not discriminating. We are looking at photographers across the country that are interested in having their archive sit with the Market Photo Workshop. The long-term strategic vision behind this is, once we have the work protected and once we've created this digital repository, we want to promote it in such a way that it becomes interactive, and all the scholars and interest groups in photographies can access this archive, and they'll pay a subscription fee. With that subscription fee, we'll have a minimal fee that goes towards retaining the infrastructure, and the remaining proceeds will go to each and every practitioner to sustain themselves. I think that is a very positive way of contributing to both the living and past legends. Current trends in photography and all the other issues pertaining to where photography is headed, what people need to do to keep up with these trends. And we also want to have a commercial aspect, as I've highlighted, and the commercial aspect is mainly to create that digital repository so that we enable people to have access to this archive, which otherwise would be sitting somewhere in a locked and temperature-controlled space where people would not be able to access it. So those are the main thrusts of the research and archival unit. In fact, at the end of March, we will be having another of our quarterly intellectual property and copyright workshops at the photo workshop. So some of these pictures are pictures that live globally that still teaches and has a fully fledged studio that contains a dark room. It teaches your traditional analog. That's a very scarce skill, and the reason why we are so emphatic in continuing to teach analog is because analog teaches you patience more than anything. And we need our photographers to be patient and be able to process images without moving to the digital space too much. It's good to move to the digital space and keep up with the trends, but you also need to have the traditional skill, because that is pure craftsmanship. So the second program, those are the foundation courses that we have. And I'm happy to report that the significance of photography, especially given the pandemic, has also been identified by institutions such as the South African National Defence Force, which last year had 5 of their employees actually converging and learning in our year-long programs at the market. And for this year, they've already booked spaces for 10 of their learners to come through and learn the foundation course. We anticipate that then these learners will progress to our intermediate course and then to our long programs. We have 2 intermediate programs, each lasting 6 months, so from January to June, from July to December. We have 1 advanced course in a year. Self-explanatory. The first one is the advanced program in photography, which looks at artistic photography. And I think you'll see in the videos that we will play what separates the two. So the one is a little bit more commercial, and it looks at advocacy, but from a commercial space and artistic space. And then the second one, which is the photojournalism and documentary photography, is exactly that. You know, for your newsrooms and the documentary photography as a traditional practice, you know. So those are the programs that we offer. And I'm happy to say that how we also offer these programs, how we teach these programs, is very different from any other institution of higher learning, because, as I said, we don't use English as your main medium of communication and don't exclude people because of language. We are able to teach in your own language. And in addition to that, we do not have 1, 2, or even 3 lecturers that are consistently teaching this course. The people that facilitate the learning are actually people that are working in industry. So in doing that, in taking that approach, we are enabling opportunities to network with industry practitioners. B, we also have exchange programs which enable our learners to interact with the learners from other institutions as well. And then C, most importantly, that creates an observation of a pathway for the learners, whether to choose to become your journalism focused photographers, B, artistic photographers, or even C, entrepreneurs and freelancers. So that is the approach that we are taking, and that is what gives our learners a competitive advantage in the industry. So the industry practice that are needed for upskilling for people that are already in industry. And also some of the offerings that are in the pipeline are 2. Firstly, we have 2 courses that these are part-time courses that we'll be implementing as of April this year. They are at an advanced stage. We have engaged the necessary partners. The first one is the mobile social media influencer program. We know that, globally there are now so-called influencers that take pictures of, themselves and align themselves with certain brands and promote those brands. But we find that in many instances, the people that take these pictures are people that are not skilled in taking pictures. And we are all aware that the pool of photography in terms of using cameras is shrinking. And as a result of that, your traditional cameras are becoming even more expensive, the entry-level cameras. That is because the camera is also being partly substituted by this device. So how do we then teach photography using this device? Because in many instances, this device has specific professional settings on it that I believe most of us don't use because we don't know how to use them. So I'm happy to announce that we've partnered with one of the emerging cell phone companies that will provide some of their smartphones for us to start offering courses in line of that. So that will be done through the mobile social influencer program, which we are hoping to start implementing as of April this year. The second one is the food photography program. Many people in the culinary industries, your chefs and whatnot, don't really know how to take pictures. And most of them go on to open their own restaurants, So we thought there is a need to put together a course that is aligned to that, to respond to that. And we are currently in negotiations with a number of culinary schools to put that program together. And thirdly, we are considering does not necessarily sit with the courses at the moment. So you can see some of our learners. Up a course, and the best performing learners are rewarded by being granted cameras at the end of the course, so that's another positive. I think that's one of the has been running for quite a number of years now, where we elect 10 practitioners that we take through an intensive program, year-long program, where there'll be, their technical skills will be enhanced, they will be having continuous crit sessions, they will be mentored, and at the end of it all, it will culminate in them producing a body of work, some zines, branding and packaging for their businesses, and then going through an exhibition. We have the the Rivali mentorship program, which does the same but uses mobile devices. That's proudly supported by one of our sponsors, where at the end of it all, the people that are involved in that program take delivery of the cell phones that they've been using throughout that program. And it's mainly focusing on the youth. So there's quite a lot. As I've said, we have another program lined up, which will be taking place here at the Nelson Mandela Bay in the next month. So had 2 publications that have been concluded. So the program due course, I think in the next week or so, we should be able to share the details with you guys. So the training on this specific program the requisite social networks. And then lastly, there is a very interesting and important program that we will be engaging also as of April. The Prof. Zanele Moholi, as part of her mechanism to pay it forward, has come forward and said, I will contribute R1 million towards a year-long program that I would like for us to collaborate on with the Market Photo Workshop. That money, it might sound like a lot of money, but it's not sufficient for the program, and that's why we are engaging the respective departments in the various provinces. Here's the program plan. Select 2 aspiring photographers in each and every province across the 9 provinces. The reason behind that is, once we have these 18 aspiring photographers, they will spend 2 weeks in Joburg at the Market Photo Workshop learning a particular skill set, come back and implement that skill set in their respective communities, and that will continue for the duration of the year. The reason behind that is we want these practitioners to focus on 4 themes. The first theme is the theme on religion. What do we understand about religion? What do we understand, about the likes of Christianity? What are the implications of it? What does it mean for, community ties? What does it mean for the status quo in terms of patriarchy and all these other dynamics? How do we unpack it? I think each and every community, the photographers that are selected within that will create some very interesting narratives, around that, because that also has implications on community culture, on issues of livelihoods and all of that. After the 3 months, in for all the 18 photographers dealing with this theme, and then B, we are hoping to have exhibitions that take place in each and every one of those communities that these photographers come from. That will be done through collaboration with various partners. And then the second theme would be the theme on hood. Hood, we mean it in the sense of a community. This is my hood and all of that. But also we expand that topic to look at it from a lens of teenage pregnancies. When we say hood, we talk about, motherhood, fatherhood, we talk about childhood, we talk about things such as livelihood. What are the implications of that? What has COVID done? And how has religion played a part in all of that? So these themes are interlinked. So I believe that there will be some interesting topical subjects that come out of that, and that will also culminate in both exhibitions in the communities and publications. And then we'll move on to the next theme, which is education. There's been a lot of talk around the decolonization of education, and I've touched a bit on how the traditional systems of institutions of higher learning can be limiting for people to access education. And even in their teaching practice, you find that it's not context-based because they learn through pedagogy that has been formulated elsewhere. And at the market, we do that by using, context-based practitioners. That's how we sort of turn the tide around. And then lastly, we will look at landscape. Landscape, both literal and figurative. Landscape, figuratively, we're looking at it from the sense of an ecosystem. Ecosystem as in, how has religion influenced the livelihood, the hoodness? How has education influenced the religion or your perception of religion? And how are all these themes then integrated to speak to who you are, to speak to the challenges and opportunities that exist in your own respective communities? And that is why it's structured like that. And ultimately, after having these 4 publications and also having these exhibitions taking place in the respective communities, the legacy program will ultimately conclude with an exhibition, large-scale exhibition that will take place at the market. So that is the thinking behind that. Some spaces there near our offices, actually. came from people such as people from the SANDF, you know. So, yeah, these are some of the images of, you know, what tends to take place in our space. Which will give you a sense of what the space looks like at the market. And then once we are done with that video, we will play you a video which is really just a testament from one of the previous learners that we had, who was a wedding photographer but was not fulfilled. They wanted to do more. And I think that will give you an indication as to how much more broader and how much more deeper the photographic space really is. So with that, I thank you.
Hi, my name is Seteli Zulu, and I'm the Market Photo Workshop alumnus. A lot of people don't know this, but I started off as a wedding photographer, and I realized it wasn't fulfilling for me. That's why I actually enrolled with the Market Photo Workshop to do a PDP course in 2015. During that course, I've actually learned a lot. I've learned how to make images, not just press the shutter. That is quite a lot that goes into making an image. My studies at the Market Photo Workshop influenced my practice enormously. I recently had a solo exhibition at the Northwest University, in which I had to put together images that spoke to one theme. But not only that, I was able to shoot, direct, and edit my own video installations. Having worked extensively with multimedia across different South African newsrooms, some of the most impactful moments I understood how telling stories could change people's lives. We covered a story in the Vembe district, DDD. So the community there was living under harsh conditions because they didn't have water for quite a number of months. Ironically, the community was situated a kilometer away from the dam, which was filled to capacity. I think a minute after the story was published, we were flooded with phone calls, emails, people from social media who were trying to help out. So ordinary South Africans wanted to donate. After doing that story, I was totally inspired to actually do more stories that would change people's lives. I would actually encourage prospective students who are passionate about storytelling, who wanna know more about understanding, analyzing, and interpreting images. They should go for it and enroll at the Market Photo Workshop. What I'm currently busy with, a couple of months ago, we just to do a documentary about four South African communities that are dealing with violence. And there's another project that I'm currently busy with a friend, a mentor, my multimedia teacher, Lebo Mashilwane. Those are the three projects that I'm currently busy with. Hi, my name is Seteli Zulu, and I'm the